Here, read this.
Woof.
Forget Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Forget Netflix's Teabag.
Perfect.
Persuasion. The old-fashioned movie studios are proving that they too are just as capable as ever of debasing literary treasures. Last week, Warner Brothers released a trailer for Emily, a film based on the life of Emily Bronte.
Emily, how did you write Wuthering Heights?
And following recent tradition, it is a film about Emily Bronte, custom built to annoy anyone who knows about Emily Bronte. It is a period film that is totally not a period film, and a biopic that is totally not a biopic. So what is it? From the evidence of the trailer, it is Emily Bronte as you have never seen her before, staring bog-eyed at the Dales. Rebel, misfit, genius, insists the trailer, as if it would know. Hot pink platitudes that should be framed above an Arga somewhere, not landing like 3 condescending pats on Emily's remembered head. If nothing else, this should serve as a final warning to those in the world of Sylvia Plath studies that we are a matter of weeks away from a biopic called something like Lady Yazarus. You can usually depend on 3 things with Bronte movies: tubercular gasps, groping the landscape,
Emily Bronte.
and Yorkshire accents that constitute a hate crime.
Freedom in thought!
Freedom in thought!
Yet despite scoring a strong 3 out of 3 on this front, the director, Francis O'Connor, is keen to stress that this is not the Bronte movie your mother told you about. I know there'll be some people that are pissed off about it. People like Bronte historians will probably say, well, that didn't happen. But I feel like everything in the film is connected to the truth about who she was as a person. Begging the question, is there anything admirable or transgressive about pissing off a Bronte historian? Are Bronte historians notorious for their draconian suppression of Bronte-inspired media? If so, they are singularly terrible at it. Now, I suspect the stance of pissing off Bronte historians is meant to not so subtly reflect the rebel stance of Emily in the film, who won't be a rebel in the radical sense that she actually was, but a rebel in the generic sense of believing in yourself. That's really the heart of what I'm trying to say. It's so important to find your own voice as a young woman and to believe in yourself. It's a worthy enough sentiment, but does it not seem a bit of a waste of a character so individual, one that you yourself label as a misfit rebel genius, to have her chorus a commonplace like believe in yourself? Won't that put some singing toadstool in a Disney film out of a job? It's like using a film about Iris Murdoch to raise awareness about the benefits of getting enough fresh air. The real Emily, as a Bronte historian would be able to tell you, left no record of having a romantic relationship. So it seems to go strangely against the notion of finding her own voice to have her request permission to use it from a man.
What do you want to do?
Do you think I could be a writer? I have lots of stories.
And contrary to the anti-period drama part of your manifesto, isn't it rather like a period drama to look at the story of Emily Bronte and ask, but where's her floppy-haired dude?
Your poetry.
That being said, I think the Bronte historians will be less pissed off by the invented romance than the eye-rolling Bronte cliches.
You know they call you the strange one.
I read it on Spark Notes, Emily. You're the strange one, Charlotte's the short one, and I'm the other one. And how often have you seen this paradox in modern media marketing, where the content is so dramatically misrepresented by its press notes? How often have you seen the utterly conventional defended as if there's a danger of hemorrhaging the zeitgeist with how radical it is? Oh, the Bronte historians will be spitting feathers when they hear these GCSE-grade Bronte takes. Oh, period drama fans are going to just hate this by-the-numbers period drama. Oh, people expecting a biopic are going to be blindsided by this film that I based on numerous biographies of Emily Bronte. Where does this defensiveness come from? Because I don't want to speak for any Bronte historians, but I think they pretty much expect you to make some things up. Heather Clark has written the most comprehensive biography of Sylvia Plath to date, but that doesn't mean she'd be the best person to make a film about Sylvia Plath, although it would be nice if you didn't piss her off. Film never used to have a complex about telling a story about the mythos of a person. In fact, cinema came up with a famous and elegant way of putting this.
This is the West, sir. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend.
Think of a film like Shakespeare in Love, a lavishly inaccurate period romance. And yet I have never met a Shakespeare historian who would say that it pissed them off. In fact, it's often written about very fondly, usually for how much it contributed in terms of visual reference to Shakespeare biography. It does seem a little bit insecure to preempt any criticism you might have for being inaccurate by saying, yeah, it's meant to piss off those Bronte historians. Though having said that, I'm actually working on a drawing of a horse, which is probably going to piss off a few horse experts, but I'm aiming it at a younger audience. And that's the other thing. What about Emily Bronte hasn't usually historically appealed to a younger audience? What do you need to add to her story to make it more appealing to the young? Making her all cringy and awkward and introverted?
You know I don't like to meet new people.
She's a mystery. We know so little about her, and I'm an introvert, and this character is an introvert. I can't be alone in yearning for the days when we heard a little bit less from introverts. Not that they shouldn't have a voice, just that they seem to have lost a little bit of that charm when they started, It's like when Dylan went electric. In the film, the characters strive for independent thinking, which is something that isn't in evidence much nowadays when everything is in sound bites.
Freedom in thought!
Freedom in thought!
Something that isn't in evidence much nowadays when everything is in sound bites.
Freedom in thought!
Freedom in thought!
Sound bites.
Come on! Freedom in thought!
Freedom in thought!
Watching this trailer with its cartload of London-based actors risking a race war with the North, I was struck by the fact that despite the prolific literariness of the entire Bronte family, everyone seems downright terrified by the fact that Emily has chosen to write something.
What is that?
I wrote it.
Did you write these?
It's an ugly book.
There's something ungodly in your writing.
I mean, this guy reacts like he's been shot.
I wrote it.
The flip side of the film's rebel yell
Freedom in thought!
is freedom and permission not to think. And from the trailer and the accompanying press, I get a strong sense of a film that will fiercely defend that right, by disdaining the experts that might have helped, and generalising the thoughts of its own intimidatingly individual subject. When I first saw the trailer, I sent it to the biggest Bronte fan, the most knowledgeable Bronte fan I know, who is my sister, Elle, the same sister who does all the artwork for the podcast. And this was her response. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. So I'm curious to know if you are a Bronte fan, whether you saw the trailer. Let me know in the comments below. And we'll wait and see, shall we? Maybe this will all be very premature and I'll look like a right old YouTube diva. That's it for today. Until next time, happy reading.